Hey, what's up guys, my name is Fast, and welcome to another tutorial in April, because we'll get to that later. The point is, this tutorial today is actually going to be a very short one. Yes, unfortunately the last one was very short, and like a lot of other ones recently are actually pretty short. I do have a reason this time, and I'll be explaining that in the outro as well. Mostly because the other two skills I was going to plan to work on did not actually turn out very well, because I failed to make them. You can see my Let's Make It for that one. Basically, today, the only one I was able to make was actually a skill. Technically, it's not a specific skill from Fire Emblem Heroes, because it's just an effect from most skills. Well, we could say it's closer to Dragon Wall. It's closer to Dragon Wall. Basically, it's a skill that, well, based on the difference between the user's agility, or whatever stats, and the target's of the same stat, well, when the user gets attacked at least, the user will reduce damage equal to a specific percentage that's based off the difference between those stats, times a number. Yes, I know it's very convoluted right now, but I'll be explaining that later, so you can see why it's that convoluted. Now, very quickly, as tradition, we'll be going over the plugin and tips and trick, tips and trick that helped me along the way. Oh, the plugin that'll help me and the person using this tutorial, which might be you, which might not be you. And then the tips and trick from Yanfly that helped me. Yeah, I worded that really poorly, that to explain it all at the end. Anyways, going to our plugins. The only one we actually need is, surprise surprise, it's Buff and State Score. I don't know how else to say this, it's Buff and State Score, it's amazing. It can do a lot of stuff. But, moving on, the only tips and tricks I used was actually, surprisingly, Magic Guard, based off the Maplestory skill of the same name, because I know Maplestory and I know that's for Maplestory. It's not really the point here though. Mostly just for help actually for that one, not necessarily for incorporating it into the skill. It is technically a damage reduction skill, but yeah, it's just for like script help. So I don't think I need to write it in the description. I'll probably do it anyways. And so with that said, it's time for the meat of the entire tutorial, which is, of course, the scripting. Now that we're going into the meat of the tutorial, let me explain what the skill actually is first. Well, allow me to explain. Let's take Dragon Wall as an example. Keep in mind, in this one we're using speed, and Dragon Wall uses res, so, or in this case, magic defense, if you're using RPG Maker MV terms. So keep that in mind for this explanation. If the unit's res is greater than foe's res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from area effect specials, which in this case doesn't matter, by percentage equals difference between stats times 4, maximum of 40%. Now, that might be a lot to take in, but allow me to explain that step by step. If unit's res is greater than foe's res, so say we have a unit with 100 res and the attacker has 50 res. Since it's RPG Maker and we're doing turn-based battles, most likely, we're only be checking this if the target enemy is attacking. If the unit has 100 res and the target has 50 res, well, we're gonna be reducing some damage. We're subtracting the 100 minus the 50 to come up with, of course, 50. We're gonna be taking that, multiplying it by 4, or 2 and 3 for shorter versions or previous tier versions. That's not really the point here. Multiplying that by 4 to equal 200. But it says max 40%, so we can only reduce up to a maximum of 40% of damage. Since it's, well, actually, since it's different. Okay, so since it's res, we don't really need to take that into consideration. If we're taking a 100 damage attack, we're reducing that just straight up to 40 by 40, so we get taking 60 damage, regardless of well, because the res was higher than 40, which is 40% of the damage, we only reduce it up to 40, so it's only got 40 damage. Yeah, still a bit confusing, but allow me to explain how we make the state. Going on to it, maybe I should make the explanation its own segment, actually. Yeah, actually I'll do that. Time to go on to the whole state script writing. Let's get on with it. Starting off with a good old custom react effect, because why not? Well, we have to use it because we're taking damage and we're calculating before the final damage is outputted. So we're taking conditional range for if the target's agility is greater than user's agility. Now the reason why we're using the target's agility before user's agility instead of the other way around is because, I mean, I guess that's hard to explain if I didn't explain. You know what, that's not the point. The point is, custom react effect, well, in custom react effect, target and user are switched, so the person with the skill who's being attacked is actually the target now, as opposed to being the user, as would normally be. So, with that said, if it does happen to be greater, we take the variable diff, or difference, but shortened to diff, and we'll be taking the target's agility, or the person with the skill's agility, minus the attacker's agility, and multiplying that by 4. This is what the original skill dictates, or original effect dictates, because it's not a skill, technically. But you might want to adjust this to your liking, because 4 is actually quite a lot, actually. It's just not a lot because Fire Emblem Heroes' differences are usually very minimal. Like, the numbers don't go much higher than 60, like, overall. In an RPG Maker game, you probably want to adjust this as you like it. Now, if the difference, or at least what number comes down here, ends up being greater than 40, we're going to be setting that to 40, because we only want a 40% damage reduction at maximum. The reason we do this is, well, let's go over this little shenanigan right here. The target's agility, say it has 100 speed or agility, and the user attacking, or the attacker has 50 agility, we're going to take that and make it into 50. We're going to take that 50 and multiply it by 4. We get 200. Since 200 is greater than 40, we're going to send it to 40. Because otherwise, if we don't, we'll be reducing damage by 200%. Yeah, we don't want it to happen. What if we had a very minimal difference here, however? What if the difference was only, say, 5? Well, it's a very good question. We take that 5, multiply by 4, of course. We get 20. Now, since 20 isn't greater than 40, we won't be sending it to 40. So overall, we'll only have a 20% damage reduction, which we will be doing here, at the end. Taking our variable for diff, we're going to be setting it to equal to 0.01 times diff. The reason being is because we want to use numbers that we can easily use to multiply it with the value. If you have a 40, for example, and have value, you're not gonna get much. Well, it's not gonna be as accurate per se. Something like that. We're taking the. Oh, I should probably mention this. Somewhere here. Let me think about this for a second, because there should be a place where you should be rounding. You probably want to round somewhere here. So math.round or math.ceiling or math.round, for example. I'm probably going to do it here so you can have like a flat, solid number. Because you're not always going to have a whole number. You might have a fraction, and that can mess a lot of things up. We're probably going to do something like, say, math.round. Something like this. I'll see if that ends up working in the actual tutorial, but we'll see what happens. And then we're gonna take that, math.round by times diff. Alright, so we take the diff, which, let's use the earlier example, we had 20. 20 times 0.01 is 0.2. We insert that 0.2, right here. We take the original value, which was let's say it's 56. Let's just say for some reason it's 56. We take the 56 times 0.2, it's 20% of 56. It's not the easiest number. We round that to whatever number it would probably be, and we'll get to the variable for reduc. We're going to take the value and subtract reduc, and there you have it. You have reduced damage. Now, let me check to see if the math.round changed something dramatic, but, well, I'll tell you when we get to the demonstration. I should probably preface this by saying that if it wasn't obvious enough, you do need a way to apply the state to the user. So autopath states will do the job, things like that, all the shenanigans, and with that said, we can continue our normally scheduled demonstration, which of course is about this exact same effect. Anyways, I did actually go back and check if the rounding script I added in worked, and it did indeed work. It did indeed work. I used a 79 base damage and reduced it to 47, which is, yeah, actually, that is indeed 32 out of 79 is 40%, apparently. About 40%, and it didn't use any fractions, so it should be okay. Alright, here we have Runefire, who has 32 speed. This rogue here has 17 speed. I'm pretty sure this attack does 100 damage normally. I'm pretty sure I set it back to 100. But to go over the calculation, 32 minus 17 is 15. Going with a semi-simple number here. 15 times, yeah, 4. That's a lot, I know. Times 4 is 60. Since 60 is greater than 40, it brings it down back to 40. 40 times the 0.01, so we can have simpler numbers, is 0.04. 0.04 times value is 40 because of 100, because 100 is base damage, and 100 minus 40 is 60. And once you know, it's 60. What a surprise. It may be a lot to process, but I was just kind of repeating what the state had in its scripts. Kind of as in, I wasn't doing it word for word. I wasn't even looking at it. But yeah, that's basically what the damage reduction is all about. Nothing too much going on here. Yeah, nothing too much going on here. So, yeah. That'll be it for today. I'll see you guys at the outro. Hey, what's up guys, my name's Fast, and welcome to the outro of this tutorial. I know it's a very short one, and I explained it terribly, but you know, it was worth a shot. Or maybe it wasn't. You decide. It probably wasn't. Okay, regardless, we're here at the outro, and there's some things that I explain here. For example, also, what should we start with? How about the fact that this tutorial came out in April? That's a very good point. The reason why it didn't come out in March is because devlogs and stuff. What do I mean by that? Well, that's very good. I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna stop that right now. The point is, tutorials are probably becoming less, and for that, on that note, Recreated's probably less, so they don't really appear that often anyways. Due to the fact that devlogs are probably gonna take precedence, I'm just gonna say that right now. Things that happen during the week are things that happen during the week. Things that happen on the weekends are tutorials, usually RPG Maker stuff. Devlogs are probably going to take precedence over that. Yeah, I'm afraid that's how it's going to have to be. I guess to have more motivation to do dev stuff, but on the other hand, I don't have many ideas for tutorials. I have some, and on that note, I've been playing Breath of the Wild, and you're wondering, okay, I'm gonna stop. Please. I said I would stop, but Breath of the Wild is probably giving me some more inspiration for tutorials. I actually thought I could try to do something today, but it didn't seem like it could work. It was something to do with weapon durability, and how Breath of the Wild, on the last hit of a weapon's durability, it does a critical hit. Yeah, I didn't think of an idea that could actually work with that, unfortunately. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. So, see you guys and stay safe. Bye-bye.